Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trade-Ease if you're a new subscriber, and also if you're a potential subscriber. Hopefully this video gives you guys a bit of color as to who we are, what we are, and the type of tools we're setting up and providing. This video will essentially go over a brief overview of the SPY Scalper itself and how it's set up. As a lot of time has gone into the development of our tools, we haven't had the time to properly establish more content for learning and having more in-depth detail manuals to go over the strategy itself and what our tools encompass. So here, again, I'm going to give a brief overview, so if people could get, some of our subscribers can get started using this tool. And we aim to provide more detailed content and more specified strategies with respect to the tool itself, and seeing certain patterns per se that we usually trade using the SPY Scalper. Obviously, first of all, I want to clarify, no system is 100% accurate, but the way the SPY Scalper is set up, it's not there to find you the tops and bottoms of every move. It is there to find you the high quality, high probability setups. And those setups are based on a momentum strategy whereby our algorithm calculates certain things in the background. Again, we can't go too much in detail as a lot of the information is proprietary, but however, we'll go over certain provisions and certain things that you will notice when you see the tool itself. As mentioned, the signals are based on a momentum strategy, and it's not specified as to a bottom or a top or a reversal per se. The strategy that we essentially follow is that we find a wave, we ride the wave, and we get off before the conditions are less than ideal. And that's how we have set up our entries and exits on the strategy itself. Initially, I would highly recommend to all our new subscribers, before you actually actively start trading using this product, I would suggest maybe at least a day or so, or even a few hours earlier on, noticing and paper trading the signals themselves to get a better understanding of how everything is running. With any system, you don't go ahead first. You have to understand the ins and outs of that system somewhat, or have the basic essence of the system for it to work for you really well. So just with respect to the interface itself, there's a lot going on here, as you can see, but a lot of it is intuitive once you get started. We have our main system right here. It will move based on certain conditions. One thing from day one to note is the chop meter. It will tell you when it's suggested that you trade or not. When it expressly says do not trade choppy, we would highly recommend staying away from any trade, even if the signal is populated, because most likely than not, even certain times it may move up, but majority of the times the setups aren't there. So just to quickly show you guys something, so once you load the SPY Scalper, you can look at the settings. With respect to the input, there's a few things to note. It's the table, the system table, which is right here, and then you have essentially your signals, which lets you know if it's a call signal, put signal, exit signal, or a take profit signal. Again, I want to clarify, the exit signals are not the best time to exit a trade. The exit signals are the system's way of telling you that potentially it finds that the move is complete, or the conditions themselves aren't ideal to continue trading, so you're better off leaving. And it's also a risk management system whereby if there is a signal and it's not going the right way, it tries to get you out as soon as possible, whereby you are getting out either at a break-even point or a point of a slight loss, so you can kind of move on to the next signal, and you're hedged off in that regard. Then the next point right here is the autopilot guidance system, which essentially is, you'll see these pink dots that are populated. It will make a lot more sense while the trade is moving and running. There's quite a few other things that populate as well with the autopilot guidance system that aren't relayed on the chart itself at this point. And I will show you guys more specifically how that works when we can run a replay of a time frame. The other item is the chop indicator. This is a very important piece of information to keep your eye on. It's relayed in a couple of places, not only in this indicator at the bottom, which is quite very easy to read. It also specifically is reiterated at this point. You will essentially see whenever you have these red X's, that means you are not supposed to trade whatsoever. So if there are points where you see these red X's and you get a signal, would highly recommend to stay away from that signal or from that trade. Before that, you'll also see these yellow X's. Yellow X's it would be more a cautionary that you are potentially in choppy territory, or it could be approaching full-on choppy territory. So it's a basis in a matter of your discretion and how you feel at that point, looking at the chart itself, that if you want to enter a trade. But as you're starting off and you're learning the system, I would suggest staying away whenever you have these X's showing up, or in the chop meter saying do not trade choppy or caution. Usually when there's yellow axis, it would essentially will tell you that be cautious when entering a trade. So the chop meter comes into a bigger picture. It plays a huge role. As we provide and make more content, we'll go more in further detail as to that. But just to start you guys off, I wanted to give you a bit of color on that. And obviously, as we finish this video and go a little deeper into certain things, we can kind of show you how this works in actual action. The next tool here is the main band provision, which are these. You will notice that there are these bands here. There's this green band and there's this other more transparent green band. These are the two bands that set up. You have to kind of pay attention to when you're looking at trades as well, because they will help you see the trend, overall trend itself, while you are trading. They also help with, if you look at the bands themselves, again, we'll go into more detail about this, as to the angles that they're moving at. If they're a lot flatter, generally means it might not be the best signal to go for, because there isn't a lot of momentum behind the move at this point. So just wanted to point that out. So on this, on the setup, the one to pay attention to are these main bands, which would be, you can turn it on and off just to kind of show you guys what happens here. So that main band kind of goes off. Then the other is the trend sensitivity moving average. We will go over that a bit more later on in some of our additional content that we'll provide. Which is essentially this, it might be easier to unselect all this stuff and show you guys specifically what it is. It's, you'll see this orange band, which turns blue and orange, and then sometimes goes dark. It a lot of times acts as support and resistance as well, as you see. Blue usually means bullish, orange means bearish. And again, a lot of these additional tools are there to supplement and help you understand the overall market conditions, but the alerts are the main determining factors of when to enter and exit trades. So as you see, when it's blue, it's in an uptrend and it's kind of going on as it holds as a very good support, and the price bounces off of it here on the SPY itself, and you'll see that here, and it turns orange when it kind of breaks through and it turns into a bearish condition. There's going to be a lot more content explaining specifically how the mechanics of a lot of this works. As you see even here, how this specified level, this is not a simple EMA or that folks might make an assumption towards, but it works as a very active support and resistance in terms of a moving average. As you see, even on this downtrend on the SPY, you see how accurate it is in predicting where it hits and then bounces off, and you get your somewhat of a reversal when the color of this moving average changes as well, and you try to get above it. So just wanted to kind of give you a brief overview of what that is. So when you're starting to keep an eye on that. The next item, which I find is very, very important, is our range trigger boxes. So they're going to populate here. So again, this is on the 5-minute chart right here. You'll notice there's these purple X's at the top, and then there's these blue X's, and then these orange X's. So what it does, at the start of each day, it slowly starts populating, and it'll be the straight line throughout the day. It's your range box at that specified time before the day starts, and it stays consistent throughout. And you will also notice, and this is where it will come in hand, where if you don't have an exit yet, and you want to see a good time to get out of a trade, if you're approaching one of these zones, means it might be a good opportunity to take profit. Just to kind of minimize all this stuff here, want to kind of show you how things interact. Essentially, price is supposed to be bullish above the blue range, and these are all designated days as we're kind of separating them apart. And the orange is you're essentially bearish below that, and the purples are essentially your range ceilings for that specified day, where it's a great position to exit if you see it approach that level. It obviously can go above the ceiling as well. Those are very big trend days where it just kind of rockets through, and obviously we'll show this on different other securities as well, and different other tickers. But just to kind of give you perspective, each day here is kind of shown in that level, and you see when price gets above this blue level, how it's anytime you also get a signal there, means that it's a pretty bullish move, and these specified ranges as well, they act as good support and and resistance points as well, and areas where you should contemplate taking profit, and when you're approaching these targets, that you're approaching with caution. Let's say even if you have a signal approaching close to this point right here, and you get that signal, you should maybe wait to see if you cross above these trigger point, or if you get, let's say, a call signal here, and you enter it right then and there, you might want to confirm that you pump through there, and then otherwise you can kind of get reject from this range area, as you see how certain things interact. And just to kind of zoom out here, just to kind of show you guys how price interacts between these ranges, right? So you see there's times where it will try to break back above, and how important these ranges are as to how they work. And certain times you have these like sideways choppy days where all day it just kind of goes on that range. And these are times, our chop meter will go off as well, which I'll bet it will be there. 1 second. So we'll turn the chop meter off here on here, and you see, right? It's all red here, and you can see how the price doesn't flex, is stuck within that level. You see these days, right, when it's all red and it's within a specified range, red specified within range. It's not moving in one way or the direction. So again, just to kind of reiterate the importance of this indicator at the bottom right here, that will determine your your essential basic understanding, where if you see a signal and you're seeing red X's, just don't get into the trade. This is a very highly profitable system, but most folks, most traders get they're their own worst enemies, per se, where sorry, a lot of the psychological part of this is even the system will exactly tell you when not to trade, when it's a great trade, but it's our own greed, it's our own, we get in our own way sometimes. So as I said, you have to keep an eye on this chop index right here, which also will show up in the systems table, which is populated here to the right. You will say it's choppy. So that's the point in the range trigger box. But obviously, we will specifically have specified videos on each one of these more in detail as we go along and we create more content for you guys. But just want to get you some information to get going on this. So I'll turn the range trigger box off for now, and show you some of the other tools that are here. The other one is the daily highs and lows. They play a very important role. As soon as the day starts, it will populate the previous day high and the previous day low. You will see in terms of price action how important that is. And there, if you break above or break below these levels, it's, again, trading works on the concept of confluence. The more things that all go together and show you a bullish move, the better, and you're more confident in that respect. So let me just turn on the trigger box here as well. Again, so you'll see here, it's kind of funny how last Friday, the previous day high was coincided with the the top of the trigger box, and as soon as you open above it, it's a bearish, it's a bullish situation, and you get more confluence as to your signals that that you can kind of rely upon and see that it's a bullish trend that is set up, and hence it's very important to pay attention to these specified levels themselves. And obviously you can turn some of these on and off depending on what your expertise levels are and how you view certain things. The last tool here I just wanted to kind of relay is we have an automatic trend line builder and detector. It kind of builds certain things historically as we come along, and it sets up certain trends. But as the move is moving at the end here, you will come to realize, you're not wasting your time trying to build these specified trend lines as you are trading. Automatically this is being set up for you, and this is also gets done at different time frames as well. So you have your line set up, and if you see a break of it, there's something else that's going on in terms of the move itself. We're really proud of this setup here, where it really helps while you are trading, seeing a specified trend being set up, and even if you have a signal that's on, you can see if there's a break of it, that something is changing here in terms of structure. And again, a lot of this stuff, it works hand in hand with our system. A lot of these tools that are on top have been added to assist traders looking and evaluating and actually learning as to what's going on within the market. Because when you look at all of this all together, it should help you with your understanding of how a specific ticker is moving. Um, and also help you guide while a signal is on. Obviously, a lot of the information that goes into our signals themselves, we can't go into in-depth detail as to what it is, because obviously there's a lot of calculation and certain things, there's a proprietary algorithm that does a lot of the calculations for us in the background for that. So can't go into too much detail into that, but all these other tools provide confluence with respect to our system of our signals themselves, because at the end of the day, there's all these other services that are out there that provide long and short signals, and that's all you get. They'll try to find you the top and the bottom, and sometimes it's very convoluted. There's a lot going on. What we're aiming for is to provide you guidance with our strategy, momentum strategy, when we're providing those specified alerts. So our alerts are essentially, our traders, their mindset, their strategy, their understanding as to how would they interact when they're seeing a specified chart, and how would they, if it's a signal for themselves. Think of it in a way where you could be subscribing to a service of a trader and trying to copy their moves once they see certain things on the chart, and then they alert everybody saying, hey, I'm entering a trade. But what we're doing is we're taking that off, where we're automating the system itself, where whatever our traders see, our algorithms calculating in the background immediately at that time, and on that basis looking at certain probabilities and certain setups, and providing that alert to our subscribers for them to evaluate and move towards. So what I'll do here is I'll turn everything back on here, just to kind of give you a basic understanding of how, once you're in a trade, how everything will work. So generally speaking here, just to simplify things, we'll evaluate the last couple of days on the SPY, and maybe that can give you a bit of color as to how a lot of things work here. So we'll start here let's start here on June 1st. And, on the morning of at 9:30, you're seeing these yellow X's kind of saying caution. It may be potentially choppy. And, you do start off in that respect. So what I'll do is I'll set up a replay here from this portion on. So we'll set up at close, right near the end of close on May 31st, and proceed from there. So you can kind of generally see the day before we're evaluating. This is the bottom of the trigger box. I would consider this top of the trigger box. So that's bullish above, bearish below, orange. And this is the ceiling, right? The purple at the bottom, the purple at the top, and you also have your previous day high and previous day low that is set up here. And it's kind of funny how the previous day low ended up being where price closed the day before, and you can clearly see the importance of it. Plus, it's very close to our trigger box again. So when you're getting these signals, evaluating this, keep in mind of these specified points. And we don't want to give you too many fibs. We don't want to give you too many trigger points. Again, if you're approaching one of these levels, it's a safer bet to either enter or exit, always keeping in mind that you can always exit a trade and always re-enter based on circumstances changing. the concept of a lot of the issue with a lot of newer traders is that they always think that there's only one time to buy and one time to sell. For a lot of our beginners, but you have to be very fluid while you're trading to understand how circumstances change, how market conditions change, and then you have to evaluate certain things in a specified way. So we will start playing this, and I will kind of give you my commentary as we kind of go along here. So SPY starts the day, you get your put signal here. And you'll see once we started, we got our signal right here. Generally speaking, when you get your signal, you're supposed to enter upon candle close and confirmation of close. This would be when that 5-minute candle closes, because this will start blinking potentially maybe earlier on. And as you get more experienced with the system, you'll sometimes will know that, hey, maybe I can enter the trade well it's flickering, because you know it's earlier in the count, because you know certain things and you can see certain momentum, because you see right here the system also sets up from a previous point. It's set up this line right here, right? So I'll replay this again slightly. So the day opens as soon as we get our put signal. You see that? The autopilot system gets on. So the autopilot, what it does, then it starts calculating certain things. So it starts calculating from this point to this point to see if this is a specified trend, and you get this put signal. Now, for you to enter, you're also trying to look at this as you want to see a break of this, right? So this automatically does that calculation for you immediately. It's not like I started and drew a line here. It did that by itself. So I'll go back here. So you're not sitting there drawing all these lines, right? So you're seeing the system. You see the band is red. This band is turning red as well. This is our main band, but I will say this is kind of flat. So the trajectory isn't there. Also, our moving average is also turning orange here. It's going down, but it's not at the higher incline that we would like. And the day is starting. You see the bottom of the trigger box that's established. You see that orange dot here and the blue X here. So this is essentially, bearish below, bullish above. And then you also have your previous day low and previous day high established close to those specified points. So let's start playing this again. So you see we get our put signal. Now here's your sign, right? So you come in here, you got your put signal. Now the next candle starts populating. This is a signal where, okay, this is a good signal because you broke. You broke this provision, so you get in and you have to kind of evaluate how things are working here. So the trends are set up. So also keeping in mind, when you're looking at this trend, there are certain things that we're looking at as well. This red line that kind of is created from previous signals, you have to always kind of look at it, right? Because this is also your tracker. If you're below this red line and the signal comes in, means it is the move is set to move below, and your floor, which is this, has been broken according to the system itself. So it's a good time to enter the trade. So you're in the trade. Obviously, you got in. This was confirmed. You hopefully got in somewhere here, and it goes. It moves quite a bit, close to 50 cents or so, and that's in terms of the options. That's a pretty darn good move. Now, I will slow this down a bit just to relay this point here. So while you're obviously these 5-minute candles were moving a lot faster, but when you're in this, you're seeing this. Oh, things are changing here, right? So now you see the autopilot system come in, and it has set up guardrails, guidance guardrails for you. And as you go slowly, you're keeping an eye on all this stuff right here. You know, you have your weather condition, you have your alert, and you have volume trend, and you have your momentum. It's showing you certain things. It also points out there's a price versus the trigger box concept. So it says ranging within the trigger box. So the trigger box, you see, it's bearish below, bullish above, and you can kind of see where price touches this range. So it automatically has set this up for you. So in this, early morning trade, when you see something like this and you touch this, it might be a good idea to get out right here. And this is potentially, depending on, I strongly recommend starting off at least with at least 1 day to 2 days out in terms of options, and buying as close to the money as possible, not going way out of the money here. But even if you do play that, this is a very good trade. You kind of, the setup is there. It's a very quick in and out scalp. So as you see how it touches, like, this sets it up for you. You know exactly where things can potentially change. So you, as I've said earlier, you would be your own worst enemy, but in this, because the setups themselves will always, generally speaking, always pay. It's on you to execute. So as you're moving and you see this, you touch this and you start changing here, and it creates a new orange base right here. So that sets up a new setup. Now, and this, when the autopilot's going on as well, what you're paying attention to is price not breaking above or below these levels. And you see all this, also this trend line that it automatically creates as well, right? So the system itself gives you every single confluence. Well, you see certain things, you want to make sure that you follow through. So you have this trend line here. You could simply tell yourself that if it breaks this trend line, I'm out. Or if it breaks this trend line, this is the autopilot guidance system, I'm out. Generally speaking, the system thinks the move is still a good move unless it breaks either this or this red line. And that's your trend line that it's set up for you to use as a guidance system. So as you're moving here, you see it set up a new base, the orange base, right? So it calculates that, and as soon as you broke above the the autopilot guidance system, you got your exit signal. So what it does is tells you, hey, the move isn't good anymore, for you to continue on the bearish side. So it tells you to exit immediately, so you're not sitting there holding. The way the system is set up, you will make your money not by holding through this and hoping that it turns. You're waiting to you have to follow this through, because this is a profitable signal. You got your setup because you had enough of that momentum there to get you going there. But on the turnaround, you don't want to be holding here. You want to wait for the next signal now. So I'll speed this up again a little to show certain other points of how the system works. So you see how the band itself is very, very flat. So usually around that, when the band is flat, we don't recommend using the signals a lot, because generally you're not going to get the momentum that you're looking for. And you kind of see here as well, you have your chop index kind of come in telling you, if you end up getting a signal here, to stay away. Do not trade. So now all of a sudden you get right in this caution area, you get your first signal. And you see how things are changing here as well, but the momentum is flat because you can see how the price action is a bit flat here too. But the system, the autopilot guidance system itself, sets up a ceiling here as well. So if you get a call signal here, you may enter the trade and you're kind of seeing it's bouncing. But what you can kind of look at, you see the trend lines that are being set up by the system itself. You know, it needs to keep going above there, but this blue line is kind of the ceiling that the system has set up. As I said, everything in this is automated. Like you will see every single angle of the trade that a very seasoned trader sees, but you kind of see certain things. So generally, let's say if you miss the trade here, you're essentially looking at this and you're saying, okay, so once it breaks up above here, that's my sign to go in. So we'll keep playing this. And all of a sudden you broke, right? But the momentum there is set up and you're riding this trend line now, right? And you see the autopilot guidance system. It's setting up certain things, and also this red line, right? So you have to see whichever, in terms of your risk management, I'll pause it here for a second. Where do you want to get off the ride? Because, you know, this will go on. If you got in here at 419, this goes all the way to 421. It's like a close to a $3 move. Sometimes we just have to be happy with what's enough, right? So generally, the autopilot guidance system has set up a track, and you have your other confluences, you have your bands going green, you have your blue average, and you have your other trend lines setting up as well. But you also see the trend lines, and you see certain breaks, and certain things are changing. So when you're looking at the autopilot guidance system, this you also get this blue track. Sometimes it changes color to show you that it is a bullish move, and this you have to also keep an eye on this red line that starts, because that's the move continues unless it stays above this line. So you will see certain things, and you see the momentum has turned a little flat here, and all of a sudden you're seeing it kind of flicker here at the bottom, and obviously it's flat. And your system, the guidance system, also set up this top, right? So it's having trouble breaking that. And then it populated your exit signal, meaning get the heck out. And you also see this flattening out as well, so which is showing you sideways movement now at this point. You know, even if it continues on later on and you don't get this exit signal, this might be a good place to leave and see, well, if it's going to get above this blue area right here, maybe you re-enter at that point, and it go on from there. So let's see how this move moves. So you see the weather conditions turning slightly bearish. You're breaking below the bands as well, and these bands also act as support and resistance as well. So you're seeing it kind of move sideways here a bit. And in the grand scheme of things, the move is slightly still, it's moved up, but you see how much time it took to get just slightly above here. What the system does is try to find you quick, fast moves to make your money and get out. It's not designed to kind of constantly just make you hold through this whole time. And as you know, as time goes by, you're losing money on your options as well. The concept of this trading system is set up for options. So you're trying to take advantage of those big moves. And if things change and it moves above, and you see how it moves above here, that tells you potentially, again, if you're not going to follow the signals, you're going to follow your own way. Maybe that's the way, you know, later on, once we show you more other tricks and trades of the system itself that you can kind of look at. But for now, just wanted to kind of give folks some basic understanding of the moves here, how the system works. So you also notice that we're approaching the ceiling here, right? And you see how it keeps bouncing off the ceiling here. And then you get your rejection. So you made your money here. It's a big, big move. As I said, you will be your own worst enemy on the system as well, because the system will provide you numerous opportunities. And this is just one ticker, right? So you're going to be setting this up on numerous tickers. And in another video, I'll show you guys how to set up alerts for this. But just evaluating this right now here, you see you approach the ceiling here, right? So again, you're evaluating a risk. You get a call signal here. And you also have, sorry, you also have your call signal here as well. And you see how the system gave you a call signal, but it just didn't like the setup anymore, it immediately got you out. So if you listen, you move on, and because you've made your money here as well, you see like a simple wash. Um, we usually call in our system, we call these wash signals. So it's, a slight loss, or, you're in and out. It's not going to, make or break you. But the point is, when you're working with these type of setups, you're trying to win big on the bigger setups, and these ones, your risk is managed. And generally speaking as well, like, you have to kind of learn as you use the system a lot more, you'll learn to identify a lot of this stuff as well. So on this second signal here, so you got your call signal that populates here. You'll notice as soon as it populates, you got a ceiling right here. And on that ceiling, you're seeing you're not breaking through. It might not be worth it to get onto this signal and unless you pop above and a close above this. That might be your point to get into the deal. But even, let's say you follow this along, you rode all the way up here, you broke even here, you took a slight hit here, still you're way ahead. Here, the same thing. You have to learn to identify some of these moves, and you see even it kind of hits its head once, it hits the head again, so it set up the ceiling for you, and then it broke below, right? So you even broke below your trend line that has been set up for you as well. So you can kind of tell that things are changing here. And as you go, you'll notice as well, there's a reason we got our exit call right here, and that's, our system potentially could give you a put signal there, but the reason why it doesn't is because of the market conditions, because generally speaking, you are in a larger uptrend, and it only wants to give you the best setups per se. So you'll see here, how the system is set up, and you get a put signal near the end of the day. The following day, you start off with a big call signal right here. And as you're moving on this, you notice certain things, right? You'll notice this is your floor, this is your ceiling. Again, this is the previous year above the previous day high. The previous day low is not in consideration because it's way low there. And you get your call signal, and immediately get your exit because it didn't, your momentum flattened out. So as you go along, you're waiting for the right opportunity, and then you get another signal. Now this signal, you see how it's riding up, and you're getting flattening of the guidance system, right? So you're kind of wary here. You're seeing how things are working, and it's not that good. So you move, you make your money. You go upside, a bit up here, which is still a decent sized signal here, kind of coming in, and you're seeing there's a pinching of the guidance system itself. You're still staying above, your system line, and the exit comes in to get you out from there. So now, as you evaluate the system, as it kind of comes up here again, you're seeing that it's following this guidance system. So you might want to be ready for another call signal. If it holds, it doesn't. So you see what you're seeing right here, right? The sideways movement, you're getting that chop, so it kind of tells you be careful here. And Friday ended this way. Now, this is on the 5-minute, right? So there's always context of looking at things in different time frames as well. So you saw there's two call signals here on the SPY that day, on Friday. Uh, and technically this is a profitable signal, this is a profitable signal, and this is sideways most of the day, no other signals themselves. But let's say you convert this on the 15-minute. So the SPY scalper works best on 5 and 15 minutes. So on the 15-minute, you got a signal right at open. And let's say you were to replay that. You would look at the system, evaluate the chart not only on the 5-minute, but also the 15-minute. It works best, obviously, on the 5-minute, but the 15-minute signals that are concurrent with the 5-minute signals are usually very strong. And if you see a signal here and the autopilot is helping you on the 15-minute as well, and you're seeing all green, that's a good signal. So on the 15-minute here, you see how there's a bit of flattening here. This is where on the 5-minute you would have been gotten out, but on the 15-minute you're still getting your signal. It's a slightly longer signal here, and it's still good. It's moving a lot better than the other signal. So you saw that on the 15-minute, where it gives you a bit more rope. But whenever you're evaluating the SPY scalper, you would look at it not only on the 5-minute but the 15-minute. One thing I wanted to kind of show you guys, another signal maybe on Tesla the last couple of days. So looking at Tesla here, just to give you perspective here on the 15-minute and the 5-minute, we kind of showed that on Twitter as well, and how the signals were set up, where you're getting your signal here, then you have an exit signal here, and the exit, then the large signal on Friday. And then if you kind of evaluate it on the 5-minute, it's broken up for you a bit. So on Thursday, you got your large call signal, another call signal here, another call signal here, a put signal, a call signal that you ride up quite well. So what we'll do is we'll just replay this quickly. I know the video's gotten a lot longer, but wanted to kind of give you an understanding of how things work here. So you see here on Wednesday, June 1st, how the signal, you rode up, and then you got your exit right there. We're replaying this on the 5-minute time frame. And you're evaluating, your systems in general, and seeing how things are interacting with the top of your trigger box and the bottom of the trigger box, and you see how the price is bouncing on the trigger box at the bottom here as well. And you see generally, you have to wait until the autopilot system guides you up and see if it's staying within that channel, and that's when you ride certain things. So even when you got the signal here, you saw, again, a very good move, and you would exit right here. And this is going from Thursday, and you can just kind of give you an idea, like how people saw this uptrend in Tesla, and you were riding it the right way with guidance, making sure that you weren't flying blind here. But with the system itself, it kind of showed you how to play Tesla. So you're still going up here, but the system didn't think it was good enough at the 5-minute time frame to enter those calls. And you got in here, you rode it up all the way here, and then you see things change, and you even got your put signal here, and you see that this is not a good put signal because it didn't break the bottom here, because that's the setup it set up. So the following day, you also got your call signal, and you see what it did on the Friday. It just rocketed up, and the guidance system kind of guided you throughout the whole move right here. You see that, right? So it's just that the red line here was the base, and you see it broke the autopilot. The autopilot showed you that it broke the trend up, and technically you could have exited here, seeing that you weren't breaking above this little threshold here, and you also got your take profit there as well. So the rest of the day, on Tesla, you kind of had a lot of that up and down type of movement on Friday. And you see again, then the you get your trend lines made automatically, and you're seeing this port right just kind of flatten out, right? And that tells you a lot. Where if it's really flat, it means that it's not good time to trade. And you're also seeing again the chop indicator come on as well. That's not a good time to trade. Um, so I'll replay this for you guys on the 15-minute, because I actually played this on the 15-minute on Friday, because you got your whole move from here to there on the 15-minute. The Tesla, because obviously it's a bit more, you get the larger swings and up and down if on an upswing right here, and you could see the trend lines as how things were set up. So I'll replay this here for you guys. So looking at this on the 15-minute time frame, starting from the same period from Wednesday, Thursday, going in, it kind of sets up a wedge for you, shows you the escape from that wedge based on the trend lines themselves, and you see how it's riding the uptrend, right? And you get your call signal, because the system detected enough of a momentum on the 15-minute time frame, and you're riding this baby up, and you see how clean it is, right? It kind of just sees certain things and it breaks certain levels, and that's at that time you kind of it shows you that it might not potentially work, but it comes back into the guidance system and it rides her back up. So you could have essentially taken profits here and gotten out and saying, oh, this is getting too risky. And when it got back up close up to here, okay, I can re-enter the trade. And you're seeing how the autopilot system sets up ceilings for you as well. If it's bumping up there, but just to prove a point here, you see the ceiling, the purple ceiling, right? Guess where it bounced off? So it's going back to the concept of the trigger box system as well. So you opened above your the trigger box ceiling and above your previous day high. So you see why the move was a bullish move, that it makes sense to buy calls on this type of move. But as soon as you start approaching here, which is close to your ceiling area, which is these purple X's, you kind of know, right? Like it's a good time to exit, and it kind of the move stalls around here as well until probably the following day. You have to, the more you play with the system, the more you'll learn to understand how things work. And we don't want to have numerous levels of support resistance, supply and demand. Obviously, everybody has a trading system and a trading style that they work off of, but we've come to find that less is more, and we've set up certain thresholds and systems where we find that if it hits certain levels, we're happy to trade in those levels themselves. So generally speaking, you can kind of test this out on numerous different tickers. Put on some Google here, and you saw on on Friday, it had on the 15-minute, let's look at the 5-minute here, because that's where we mostly look at. On the 5-minute here, you had a mostly chop. You wouldn't have taken that signal because it's during chop. And you got a call signal here, which was, a slight move up. But you kind of come to notice that the bands on this are very, very flat. Your red line here, that the center line that we've set up is, again, very, very, it's not an upward trajectory. It's pretty flat here as well. And you kind of see what's going on, right? So the system automatically sets up this line here as well. It makes more sense if you hold calls above this level, but it didn't. It came you didn't have enough momentum here. So early in the morning, you got this big rocketing call signal, and you kind of move up, and you kind of see what, I'll show you guys on the autopilot system here what it did. So you got your call signal, you're seeing your autopilot set up, and then immediately right here, you see this red line right here? It broke below. That's your uptrend, line, because generally speaking, when you're in calls, you want to make sure you're always above this red line. And when it's puts, you make sure you're below this red line. So as soon as you saw the call signal and you got in here and you saw this, you're like, okay, this isn't going to work. And you saw that right after it broke below this, it gave you the exit signal, right? But the exit signal is designed for folks who are learning, to tell them to, well, the move is, it's not worth it to stay in the trade. You need to leave. It's that risk management part of it where it automatically teaches you that. And you see that, the system also set up that blue ceiling for you guys right there, that it doesn't make sense. Because, no matter how much, how profitable the system is, how much money it can help you make, it also, bigger concept of trading is to make sure you're holding on to your capital and not losing any money. And this system itself helps you instill good habits, trading habits, and those are the things that will really make you your money. Is when you know that it's not a good time to trade, or like, okay, I'll cut my losses and move on and go for the next signal, right? So just looking at Google, it wasn't doing that much that day, so you didn't get a lot of signals. So going around on Friday, generally, pulled up QQQ as well. You kind of just generally saw there was just a lot of this chop at a specified level. Chop indicator was heavily involved, but you see how it generally picks up all these moves, on the days where it kind of breaks the trigger box, kind of comes in, gets you your put move, your call move. Once you start back testing this properly and looking at it yourself, I would strongly suggest, like, don't actively trade this the first day or so. Once you have your hands on this, the system itself, look at it, how it's working, how it's evaluating, and evaluate for yourself how things generally work. We will also be putting up certain content on Twitter, and obviously there's going to be a lot more videos to go over how the system itself works, and certain strategies and certain things to look for, and to avoid. But we're very proud of the system. It's very highly profitable. Again, we say the trade uses, the proof is in our charts, and the way we've set it up, it's a very easy to use, user friendly, designed for beginner traders or part-time traders who are sort of learning how to trade themselves. But this provides you with the guardrails to learn, and kind of forces you to see how the market is moving itself, and sets you up with the trend line, sets you up with an autopilot system, to kind of get you going. And we're confident to say very confident to say there isn't anything like this system available on the market. And we doubt it will be available on the market, because there has been a lot of effort and time, and let's just say a lot of backroom, hard work that has been done to establish the system. And there's a group of really smart folks who've come up with this, and we're very proud, to set this up, and provide these tools to you guys. We will be also establishing, certain things earlier on. Our pricing, we've purposely kept it low. We believe in this product. We know it's going to make you guys a lot of money. But we will be raising our rates later on, but initially to kind of get everybody a taste and understanding of how things work. we will be providing certain promotions that will be coming up, certain discounts on our subscription services for people to give this a try. So if you guys have any questions or concerns or anything that comes up, you can kind of DM us on our Twitter, or you can go into our website, and our emails listed there as well. And we'd be more than happy to kind of address certain things. And some of our subscribers who are started using the service itself, we are as we slowly built up our content as to how our systems work. We're also offering coaching services to provide further detail on how to use the system itself. If you want to set up for a coaching session earlier on, we can set that up there an hour long, just to kind of go over the more nitty-gritty specifics of the system itself, and we can answer any questions with respect to how to identify certain things, how go over certain scenarios per se, and help answer certain questions in that respect. Also, our other swing trading indicator is going to be active, is active as well, where we will be setting up a video on that. That's mostly set up for folks who have less time. Again, this was started by one of our traders who is looking at meme stock per se, and they found certain patterns in the meme stock, and it's, maybe we'll kind of show it to you guys here quickly. So I've quickly loaded up our swing trading indicator here as well on the daily. You can kind of see GME. We did post this on Twitter. We got our signal on May 5th, and you see the type of move it has had ever since then. It's there's a put move right here. You get your bit of your call move here. It catches generally a lot of things really well, even with Tesla here. We went long quite early on here based on this move. It's let's just say it's it works really well. We're still tweaking a couple of things on our swing trading, because a lot of time and effort had gone into our SPY Scalper day trading indicator that encompasses our strategy. But our swings trading strategy, obviously it's slightly different than our momentum strategy, but it catches certain things. The algorithm for this catches certain things in the specified differently way. It's still good. It still works really well, but there's a bit of tweaking that we're about to do to that. Try to get it on the lower time frame as well, on the 4 hours, and which has been working. And I'll show you guys the signal. I'll show you guys signals on a couple of improvements on that version here as well. So this is our swing trading on the 4 hours indicator, and you can kind of generally see how it catches. This is GME, caught the call straight up here, got your puts. It has a similar guidance system as our SPY Scalper. You got a call signal right before the earnings when you had the ginormous move up. So it catches. It's been very impressive in its capabilities. It works on the same way. For getting the your chop indicator populating means it's not worth it to trade. But you can kind of generally see how it catches. Look, these are vicious moves up and down. It seems to catch, and this is on a 4-hour time frame. And obviously the same thing. You're managing your risk with your exits, and so it's not a simple go long or until you get our short signal, right? No, you get your exit signal when the conditions change. So you're even if the trade goes sideways, you're protecting yourself. So you're seeing, right, like on the back testing, it catches almost everything, right? It's when you hit, sometimes they're huge home runs, and meme is very profitable when it comes to that. You see these signals, right? They're pretty extraordinary in how everything is set up, and it's generally catches even on the back when we were back testing it. It caught the signals even coming in earlier on, and you see that it's not a simple short and long and short signal, right? You're getting a call signal, then an exit signal, a call signal, then an exit signal, then a call signal that goes to the moon. And it's not as simple as long and short, where you're you think once you're supposed to go short. No, it's gonna, if it thinks it's good to go long at a specified time, it'll then, if the conditions change, it'll tell you to exit. It won't tell you to go short, it just tells you to exit. And you get the same type of dynamic here, right? So sometimes it's just put signal after put signal after put signal, because it just feels that, okay, it's gonna run down, and okay, it's not a good time to be in the trade, it's going to run down again. And that's how our swing trading um, um, strategy is set up. Let's just put on Tesla here, because I just want to show something other than meme here as well. And you can see this, right? Like, this is Tesla. We put this signal up on Twitter on, it was kind of hidden, wanted to show how our chart was catching this, our system was catching this, and, we showed everybody this signal, and you see what happened after that, right? And it's an active signal right now. That's why the autopilot guidance system is active, and, you're kind of running well here. And the same thing here, call, exit, put, exit. So it's the hit rate on this is pretty extraordinary, and obviously there are certain things that we have identified that will make this even better, even more lethal. And obviously this works in the same concept, right? Like, you got a call signal here in chop, you don't play this. Same here, if you're getting a call signal here and all of a sudden you got an exit, but let's say if this exit was later on and you start seeing chop, you exit. So this, there's so many checks and balances on the system that's supposed to keep you safe, and just and keep you profitable, and helps you hold certain things longer as well. If you see, it's clear uptrends, you're seeing, like, your trend line set up. Even here, like, you can kind of tell if you played these the right way, which some of us have been playing, and our beta testers have been playing, that they've been doing really, really well. So yeah, no, just want to leave you guys with that. I know this is, we started off with saying that's going to be a short video, but, obviously kind of explaining quite a few things here. I think with this specifically the spy scalper, we just kind of did a little bit of intro on the momentum, our swing trading strategy as well. But going back to our spy scalper, it's a great tool. We will be we're very proud of it, and hopefully it helps you guys as well. And just kind of, and if you have any questions or concerns, yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to us, and then we can kind of guide you through and how the system works. Thanks.